Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Tech N9ne EnterFear Level
Can you have
1
some enthusiasm?
EP album review thing. This is EP weekend over here on the Headspace podcast because after we decided we're going to review all these EPs, we saw Slane dropped an album. So here's what's up. If you want to see us review the Slane album, leave a comment letting us know. Give a like, but meanwhile, enjoy EP weekend where you'll see quite a few reviews coming out on these shorter projects that drop, starting with Tech N9ne's EnterFear Level 1. I'm not sold on that title. My name is Holden Stephan Roy.
My name is Krizz Kaliko.
And yeah, this is the Headspace podcast, the show where we break down the new hip-hop projects track by track, giving thoughts and opinions on each song. Since there's a lot less songs on each project, we figured, it'll take the same amount of time as we normally put in. And before we get into it, we recognize we're just regular folk. We recognize who we are. We do these reviews week over week. But at this point, we have listened to a lot of new music. So I feel like to some degree, at least, we're a little up to date with kind of what's hipping and hopping up in the world, if you know what I'm trying to say. But we care a lot about your comments, and we care a lot about your feedback, and just generally the community side of getting to know y'all. There's well over 100 names I recognize and kind of feel like a personality on, and it's really cool to have that experience with y'all. So to give love, we like to share favorite comments, and this is on our last Tech N9ne review for when he was doing his last EP run. And it was from Ismail Gadamsi, and he said, I think he should become a conscious rapper and innovate again. And honestly, at that phase, that's kind of how I felt about Tech N9ne too. What he was doing wasn't technically non-proficient, but, I got where he was coming from with that comment, so I thought it was really cool. And I just like hearing what y'all think about, the artists we talk about as we go through this journey together. On that note, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get into it. And before we do, quick special thanks to the patrons, Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Browder, Jonathan Barnes, Legion Black Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Coney Sparks. We'll touch on that at the end of the episode. And Mr. Christopher, what album are we reviewing this week?
So for this week's Headspace bonus album review, we went with Tech N9ne's new little EP, EnterFear Level 1.
Basically, Tech N9ne dropped this little 5-track little thing here along with Krizz Kaliko. I'm going to just assume this is a big follow-up to a giant onstage contract signing that happened recently that garnered the internet's attention for a quick minute. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Well, from what I understand, a few years back, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, I'm giving my foggy memory version, but Krizz Kaliko has spent the last couple of years debating on if he would remain with Strange Music and continue on the journey and do it like that. And so he was offered a deal with Tech and Boss Dude, and he didn't accept it. A couple of years goes by, and they have this big moment on stage. I don't remember if it was a significant concert or anything, but it was just a big moment. And then you see Krizz Kaliko comes out and gives a speech, and he just signs the contract right there on stage. And then a little bit later, they both drop an EP on the same day. Guess, you guys just got a spoiler for another one at EP weekend.
This sounds so planned out.
I don't know that it was.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying,
I would argue that Tech N9ne is impeccably good, and his team at least, at taking advantage of moments like this and turning them into something.
Okay.
So to me, it's more plausible that this was organic. Krizz Kaliko just felt that way. Obviously, they made a big to-do about the signing because it's good for views. But the part where the double EP came, certainly it was a plan at some point to do that, but I just think it was an opportunity that was monopolized on by the great timing of all these different things, and kudos to Tech N9ne and his team for Strange Music in general for just being pretty good business people. That's really dope. This is the part of the show, though, where we like to contextualize our familiarity with the artist, because I think it matters a lot in terms of your enjoyment and appreciation of an album or a project. How long you've been a fan and how you feel about the music and things like that. So we have talked about Tech N9ne before on this channel. I used to be a really, really big Tech N9ne fan back when I was impressed by fast rap and thought it was the be-all, end-all of great hip-hop.
It still is.
It's not. Great writing is my favorite, followed by technical proficiency. But people who can kind of use the art form to truly just move me with words is going to be a little more impactful at this phase of my life than people who can be tricky because it's easier to be tricky than to impact me. Like a Book of Ryan by Royce da 5'9" on an emotional level will trump most of like a fast-paced rapper's work. Now I'm saying Tech N9ne has an entire era where like I'm connecting at super emotional levels, right? Like that dysfunctional era, B.I.B, all of that stuff. Maybe it was because I was at a particular phase in life when that music was coming out, or whatever it was. But I really love that era of Tech N9ne's work, and I kind of dig a lot of his older stuff. But then he got rich, Forbes list rich.
Although,
so fucking like everybody
like
wants to be Tech N9ne in terms of his power and success level rich. And then he kept complaining, and that really got on my nerves. Like, maybe you could construe it as being a hater, and maybe there's a little part of me that looks at his success and goes, dude, if I was you, and this is prior to this project, right? This is coming into this album. So I was like, if I was you, man, I don't know that I'd be so upset that, like, you know, you're maybe not like the world's greatest thing on paper, per se. And I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying Tech N9ne is one of the most impressive people in music, in my opinion. He has accolades up the fucking ass. But it just feels like, for a while, at least, his music had this tone of it wasn't good enough, and he just kept expecting more, and he wanted me to feel bad for him. And that was the part I had a lot of trouble with, because it's hard to feel bad for a dude that makes the top 10 Forbes list of fucking music earners. You know what I'm saying? Hard to feel bad for that person. Like, maybe the mainstream doesn't love you, maybe the industry hates you, but you done fucking well in spite of that. I'd love to hear more of some celebrations and crap. That was my feelings coming into this project and my old prejudices. And I'm going to say this project, I actually liked it a lot more than the last work. So just so I do some spoilers, because I know some people might click off like I'm being a negative Nelly. I kind of like what he did on this album a lot more in regards to all of that. I don't feel that negative, nilly, whiny vibes that I was getting off of the older work. So I feel with all confidence, that's cool that it seems he has moved a little bit past that. Even on the song about the industry, I didn't feel it. And that felt really cool.
So for me, I love Tech. I've always really enjoyed the way he raps, flows, and everything. And then, you know what, to be real, after a few conversations with Holden, I kind of started realizing, like, just what Tech N9ne kind of does. And as you were explaining your side, I kind of thought, like, Tech N9ne's been on top 10 Forbes list from what I perceive as, because he's really good at what he does. But to connect that with, like, the type of music he's always made, yeah, I feel like a lot of his tricky stuff is kind of easier when you kind of repeat yourself and you find different ways to kind of say it. You know how you kind of want to go about it. So I feel like I also as well wanted a little bit more from Tech N9ne that I got on this project that I didn't get before, but I still love everything he does.
So, like, here's the thing. I thought, like, Planet, in hindsight, is a really diverse and well-made album. And there's a whole part of it where I think I got burnt out on his music. And I haven't really listened to Tech N9ne for fucking since Planet, except for the little EP where his FTI song really irked me because he's totally connected to the industry, however people want to, like, fucking play it. Tech N9ne is the industry. If your name's on the Forbes list, yeah, industry, alright? Stop trying to play like you completely, you're not like me. That's what I'm trying to say. We're in different tiers of life.
Just, hold on, wait. Just because you're on Forbes list automatically means you're industry. Like, it doesn't
You're going to tell me that the monster deal is an industry, or all of these things are an industry? I mean, my version of industry is the capitalist machine that commodifies music and blah, 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 right? Now, I'm sorry, but it's
so
one,
if you're sponsored.
So it's like Tech N9ne does everything the big leagues do, just without them. It's all the same. It's like a copy paste. The signing artist, all of it. All it is. It's a copy paste. So I mean, I'm not shitting on that. Guess what? It's the way of the world. Sometimes you have to make decisions where you end up in that position, and if you're going to be a Forbes list type guy,
right,
there are just certain compromises and things you'll have to make, like signing distribution deals with the major labels or corporate sponsorships.
But that's what I'm asking.
I'm not shitting on these things.
But I think that's what I'm asking because I don't actually understand a little bit. I'm saying, like, can you be on Forbes list just because you have a fuck ton of money?
How do you get that fuck ton of money as a musician?
Okay.
I'm being sincere. Like, how do you make $9 million in a year as a musician? Touring? Nah, way big. You have to go bigger than just touring.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you get to a value touring? Like, there's a degree of the industry that you become.
Mm-hmm.
It's like impossible not to. I mean, over the last decade, you're gonna tell me that strange music in itself is not a powerhouse within the industry?
I mean, I agree.
I mean, he's connected to so many other underground. It's like the underground is so big. It's like the minor leagues rather than actually being the majors.
But me personally, I've always felt that Tech N9ne does a really good job in terms of strange music. They take everybody who's different.
And I like that.
Hence the name, right?
And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful against the great business accomplishments of Tech N9ne because they're incredible. I'm just trying to say, don't shit on the industry when you're basically the industry in my eyes. Because in my eyes, Tech N9ne is no different than the rest of the industry, except that he has a quality of music threshold that I think is more about making a good musical product than, say, a major label would be. But really successful indie label is still going to make corporate choices when push comes to shove,
right,
when how they deal with their artists and all this stuff. I'm certain not everybody's all about the love all the time. I'm certain business decisions get made, and somebody looks at Tech N9ne right now like he looks at the industry. That's all I'm trying to say. And I mean that literally. Somebody's looking at him right now and feeling away as though he is exactly the people who rejected him. Why? Because that's the way of the world. Not everybody is of the talent level to be there. And I'm not, again, I am in this place trying to say I empathize with the decisions Tech N9ne has to make. I'm trying to say that what bothered me was how he would go at the industry that ultimately put him on a Forbes list. Because guess what? Your punk ass fuck the industry. It's a move. It's a play. It's no different than anything else. It's just good marketing. And if you're using effective and good marketing to play that indie card and you kill it, well, it's cool. Props to you. But come on, don't play like it didn't make you millions of dollars that the industry, which he acknowledges, I think, on this album. I'm just saying. So that's what I'm trying to say. That was the past. I know this has been long and tangential, but whatever. I admire Tech N9ne's talent. There are many songs that I have put time and effort into, like studying how he does his thing. And I just want everybody to know that. I hate the title though. EnterFear Level 1. It makes me feel like he's doing that EP lead to album bullshit again, and that all these songs are just going to be on the album, which is going to make reviewing the album seem like a not fun option because we'll have reviewed half of it.
But I think I like that type of build up on what he does because it gives you the option to either play the whole project or kind of just sit with what you like. Because I feel like even when he did the last time, the different parts, they had two different vibes to it, as if like in an album perspective it would have changed.
Doesn't his albums always kind of get broken into parts like that?
On an album perspective, like for example, Planet. Planet was like a full project that was broken down in its own way.
It wasn't just Planet. E.B.I. was not E.B.I, but the one that came out around there.
But I'm saying is, give me 5 tracks of one vibe. Give me another little EP, 5 tracks of a different vibe, and I'm okay with that.
Now, what I'm trying to say is he's going to do that and then drop the album. And that's where I'm going, but then half that album's already out.
Well, I'm saying if you want to listen to let's say both vibes together, you can have that playlist, let's call it. But I also like having that selection of I just want this.
But then there's going to be 8 new songs, so it's almost like you have to go listen to it, And I feel like for me, it ruins the surprise a little bit. It's like, okay, that's my opinion. I feel like, look, if you're going to put out the EP and then a year later drop it, but I get the feeling that he's going to drop 4 EPs or something like that, and then that's the album. Or I don't know, maybe I'm just being whatever, but I'm not sold that I personally enjoy that strategy, but it will make you more money in a streaming era. So kudos to you for playing the game.
If he does it, and maybe I'm getting my artists mixed up in terms of who maybe did it first or whatnot, but if he does it kind of like how Denzel Curry dropped Taboo, he dropped half of Taboo first, part 1, then he dropped part 2, and that was the presentation of the album. He did after release the album as a one whole shot, but it wasn't like, oh, the album's out now, guys, go get it. It's like if you got part 1 and then you got part 2, that's all you needed. You can go and get the album on Spotify. It's all there, but
like, I
he
guess,
presented 1 and 2 like that.
and I suppose you could argue that considering the consumption on streaming services, none of this really matters because you can do what the fuck you want with it. I just think it's cheeky. It's just cheeky. Now,
Holden's word of the day, cheeky.
if he comes in and drops the whole album and it's a bunch of new songs that aren't on the EPs, it would fuck me up, and I would be like really happy with that. Anyway, the cover's fine. It is so basic that it's white girl basic.
Oh, Jesus.
Am I wrong?
No. I do like the cover, though, because I find it's Tech N9ne-ish. Like, when I see this cover, I see Tech N9ne. I see us going into some spooky, or at least an attempt to spooky type of old school feel. I mean, that sign kind of makes me feel like I'm a little bit back in the day. It doesn't feel so futuristic. It doesn't feel so, like, advanced. It's really got this, like, Jason, Freddy-esque horror feel to it. Kind of old country town. So I'm kind of feeling like we're going to get some...
See, I feel like it's more Old Town Road.
It works. Country town, Old Town Road.
It just feels more goofy pop, like Billy Ray Cyrus is about to show up and start singing.
It looks, you know what it kind of looks like? Like Billie Eilish-ish.
I don't know. Look, to me, it's just, it doesn't look like a whole lot of thought went into making this the most art-filled cover.
But it makes a point, though. You're entering fear. Like, you're walking into, like, a cave, and it's like, enter here. This is where we're going.
I don't know.
Fear would be the cave. So
There's
it's like,
definitely an argument to be made that album covers are shittier in this era than in the past. That's something I think I'm coming to see, because we look at the classic. I look at classic albums, and like, there's like a charm to the old school ways covers was made that we're like, man, this looks like, again, like an hour in Photoshop tops.
I'll argue that. I think it depends on the artist you pick, because I went to go check out the Trippie Redd album just to kind of see what he looks like, and I went to go see a lot of like the newer artist albums, and they have a lot of these cartoonish, Dragon Ball Z-ish, all of these things that like this generation's growing up with. And
Trippie Redd's album cover is not that cool.
Look at his last one, Love Story 3, whatever. It looks cartoony.
Okay.
And there's a lot of the albums that kind of look like that. There's a lot of this like design features that are coming with a lot of the new artists that I think are kind of relating to what that is going. This really does seem plain, but this doesn't seem like he's trying to attract that type.
I'm just saying it looks basic. I don't like it that much. I don't have to like Tech N9ne's covers. Normally I feel like there's like a classier glossiness to them that I like. This is grittier, whatever. First track's called Yeah No, which is probably what people are thinking about me so far. Alright, so this features the lovely Mackenzie Nicole, who...
I wouldn't say features.
I would argue that her 2 words actually is a really beautiful part of this track that enhances it in like a totally powerful way. Because all she does is that chorus, where she just repeats, yeah, no. And then, you know, Tech does his little shit over her, kind of like talking and hyping up the next thing. But I feel like she's haunting. She is more EnterFear Level 1 than the album cover is to me. And the way she fits with the beat, the whole like vibe of it. Plus, everybody knows Seven's brilliant. Like, Seven is possibly one of the illest beat makers in my little opinion, because he does some weird shit I really like. And it's very rare, like, I don't know, I can't think of a beat he's made I think is whack, is an example. So, he's dope. The vibe he creates, the way she like fills in, like she's almost a layer of the beat, kind of laying in that yeah no. I thought it was really powerful, like really nice. But what do you feel about this song?
I like it. I thought it was a nice little intro to getting us in, I guess, this like spooky, fearish feel, right? I do agree with you. She does do a good job at giving us that vibe, that type of energy that we're going to be getting. I think the reason why I was saying you can call it feature was just because of those 2 lines, but I agree. The way that it was layered together and like they kind of synchronized everything, I'll give you that. I felt like he was really flossing on this track. I felt like this was Tech N9ne kind of coming in and really just being Tech N9ne with that electrifying energy that he comes in with. I liked what he said on verse 1. He goes, "Gotta be solitary or probably with me partners in a B, chakra, flee, off you gotta bleed, Mothra, please, Papa. Like, I like like, he's doing the syllable thing. He's going back and forth, he's jumping around, which I really like. But I didn't feel like there was anything here that was, like, super deep or, like, oh my god, this is really, really crazy. I felt like this was... Yeah, for me. Like, somewhere in verse 2, about time to get out, rhymes with the devout lines about mine and see, shout signs, because I outshine all the clout kind. I'ma stay lifted and gifted. I see the round up that cause you wicked vicious. Like, he's doing the tricky shit, which I really enjoy, but I felt like this was just him doing what Tech N9ne does. I didn't get anything, like, personal. I didn't get no, like...
I got personal.
Well, where did you get some personal?
This whole song seems to be about Tech N9ne finding like inner peace and an inner understanding of the God within himself, rather than succumbing to a more normative look at like how people expect him to be. I got that from it. And like, that was one of the briefest songs. Maybe I can do those short ones one day. That was some brief shit. But yeah, so the gun drops in one if you bump no, forget that. Look at the intro. The God energy. Y'all ain't ready because I ain't hanging out. I'm reclusive now. What? And I thought that was really cool because I get more reclusive as I get older, because honestly it's tough to be around people sometimes. And you know, like, the internet's cool because you can connect with a lot of people on that similar wavelength. But in person, you're forced to deal with a lot of people on different wavelengths, and sometimes it can be emotionally exhausting. But this God energy, it makes me think of like the 5%er use of the word God, because like Tech N9ne is from like way back and would have been inspired by that shit, you know. So if you're trying to find that inner peace and whatnot, so I thought that was really cool. And then the gun drops into one. If your bums cross, then you're done. Don't get red rum caught in your lungs. It's electric when the tech is finna get plumb lost in a drum. Alright, fine. It's just kind of nice. It flosses in. Don't fuck with him. He's basically equivalent of the lyrical onslaught of bullets, and I respect it. We gotcha. He wanted with you because you don't see nada. Gotta be solitary. You're probably with me partners in a beat chakra. Fleas off. You got a Mothra. Please, Papa. I'ma need vodka with the weed to stop to lay the gaga. So what I get from that is we gotcha. He wanted with weed because we don't see nada. I guess like people trying to get up in his world, but he's got to be solitary because otherwise he's got like a lesser chakra. You know, B, I took it like a negative. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Kind of sounds like he gets lost in the drugs and shit to kind of cope, ball, spit, slip, bitch, split, slide. You can dip with them guys.
That was cool how he did that.
And this it sounds dope. They want to hit the split from inside my fucking circle. I don't want to hurt you. The nine's a virtue. We got to take care of him. And if you think you're going to harass him, you cannot reach me and all of my seraphim. So it almost sounds like people are trying to infiltrate his crew and whatnot. And he's reached a point where almost on like a moral ground, there's like a higher level, like using a word like seraphim, reflecting to angels and his squad. Like there's a holier, or at least a spiritual element to being in his squad that matters. It isn't just any old people there, you know? So then he goes, you know, when I'm done, say goodbye to the gun. Everyone, I gotta go. You want to hang out with Doc Strange after my show? Yeah, no. So it's almost kind of like showing how a response to maybe all people sorts of coming up to him. Now, maybe it's just where I'm at in life, but I find this a lot more relatable because I thought it was really personal. Like, you go through this maelstrom of shit. You ill. Now, maybe in your mind, I'm not ill. But in my world, I'm on a journey of growth. So I keep doing things to improve. And maybe one day I will be ill. But relative to some others, I'm pretty ill. Not to everyone, but to some, you know? And as you reach that, you see how the non-ill people try to approach your situation and, you know, infect you with bad vibes. And it really gets in your way. So I totally get where he's coming from with this, yeah, no. And then, yeah, we good. It's just time for the still for real. I'm not y'all's enemies. I'm just trying to preserve my chakras. And I'm like, yo, that's so relatable. That's why I like to go home at Friday nights and not hang out with people. Because, man, you know what's fucked up? When you have a long-ass week, you want to go out, okay, fine, you go out. And then somebody does this thing, and then the whole night's ruined. And now your night's ruined, all because a person did a thing. And you know what could have been? Go home, none of these things happen. At least this is where I'm at. Because I'm just trying to keep my spirit in a place where I can keep focused on this growth quest. And all the distractions away from that get in the way. So I felt myself again relating to him. 9 times greater than rhyme on beta with the slime credit behind it. Made it divine shine haters when I line mine. But I'm the highest angel in white. Try to find my angel and came, I'm exalted. So it almost looks like he recognizes his strength. talent and his worth and everything like that, and he elevates himself to where his true value is and doesn't want to dethrone where he's supposed to be. People lost this, but the bosses entangled in bank might feel inferior to this hierarchy, but you gonna hear so superior, you trying to mark me. Tech will never bring the gore to Matty. He's the boss, shit's complicated, if you come at him, bad news bears. The family cannot afford the body of the blessed kid to be tested, you gonna catch shit, porta potty. That's a great line, right? Because a porta potty, it catches shit. Good line. Anyway, so you get this whole vibe of him like being on his own the whole way through the track, and then the third verse, I don't know. People just leave it. Our connection is no more needed because my mere mortal mind has been deleted and my seraph is your time now depleted. I can see the motherfucker leave it. Just leave it.
I mean,
and you're getting this vibe of like you got to imagine how it is to be Tech N9ne and to maybe not love everybody and maybe trying to have a day and everybody's trying to come up to and everybody trying to get something out of you, because whether he likes it or not, Tech N9ne is one of those people that you would look at as the man, like a man to be, you know?
And I agree.
And so it just kind of just left with his frustration where he kind of summarizes his whole thing down to no. You can't go back and forth on a flow with him. No. Unless you're Eminem, of course you can then, I bet. If M shows up and goes, Tech, let's go back and forth on a flow. You think he's going to go, no? Of course not.
No, they did speed him.
But that wasn't M going back and forth. I'm saying if M chose to do that, I would imagine Tech says yes, because Tech wants him on this album. So, anyway, 4.5 on 5, because honestly, it actually brought that introspection and mixed it with his flair. And I found myself connecting to it at like a deeper level than, say, the whininess, because I felt this was more him trying to explain why he's making healthy decisions for himself because of the power within himself. And so it kind of came off more empowering while still touching on that core vibe of what Tech raps about. So I was impressed by this and the beat, and it just flowed nice.
Nice. That's really, really cool. I gave it a 4.2. I thought it was a nice little start. I do like the third part, though. Leave it, just leave it. Our connection is no more needed because my mere mortal mind has been deleted. That really stuck with me. Just like he's really dividing himself from everyone else and like really emphasizing on that, which I think was really cool. But yeah, that's all I really want to add.
So yeah, all things considered, we're done 20% of this album already. That's crazy, just one song in. Let us move on because it's starting to feel so sad.
That was trash.
Fuck you. I like this. I mean, I wasn't expecting this. This feels like kind of what you were hoping for, like some interesting Tech N9ne stories.
Yep.
And I feel like he approached the subject matter with a lot of tact, and this is really genuine and sincere sounding to me. So, kudos to Tech N9ne for making a pretty bless-ass dark story song that honestly does live up to the title of Fear and shit. But the first verse kind of has him a couple of fun parts. So, I mean, with these story ones, it's not so much that the bars are ridiculous. What's ridiculous is how he can keep the flow going. So it does start out with, Aaron is so cute. That's what they used to say to me. 9th grade, young female teachers almost every day to me. But it's more like you're getting this picture painted. So yeah, young, little 15-year-old Tech N9ne, Mr. Yates. He's looking kind of fly with his high top fade. The gangsters made fun of him and shit, but he's like, fuck that, I'm getting laid. So he did that because the women hella thought it was savory. And I respect his choices. It's usually not bad to get the savoriness of women. In my Guess fit popular, you guessed it, and I always forget that Guess was like a really high-end brand like that. And hip-hop, dance, and rap and talent shows, I blessed it. And you're like, alright, so he's painting him a story. That's just kind of illustrating that's the whole song is told with that level of finesse. And then he basically...
But it's cool how you can actually picture it.
Yeah.
Like, just that level of storytelling, the way he keeps it enthralling and the way he keeps you just connected to it was cool.
And this is one of those times where I think the fast nature of Tech N9ne serves to his advantage, right? Because let's say you're going slow with it. yeah, you can paint a picture, but I don't think you can paint as vivid a picture in a 45-second period as you can as if you pop in as many words as Tech does. And so at this level of vocabulary use within the track, you're able to be a lot more concise with what you're trying to convey and tell, like, I think a more invigorating story. And it's one of my favorite parts of hip-hop where other musical genres I don't think can tell stories in the same way, just due to lack of words. Anyway, he heads home from hip-hop dance lesson or whatever, and basically some guy whistles at him, and this fucks him up, and he goes home, and he's like, Mom, why did this guy whistle at me? Instead of, like...
Well, I want to talk about that. So, when the dude kind of drives by and whistles at him, first off, he goes, red light, hella on shout time. He said, hey, when I looked, I was thinking that I hope this person ain't pistol happy. So right away, you kind of get this like feeling that he lives with fear. He lives on edge. You know, he's walking through his hood area, and it's like, I could die right now.
So he's on edge for like reason A already, and then dude hits on him, and he's like, yeah, motherfucker, you know, like screams out, which...
Well, it's not just hit on him, right? So, like, again, then right before he drove off, the man blew a kiss my way, and then he whistled at me. I'm like, mother... But I want to.
That sounds a lot like.
Well, no, because I feel like because he drove away, it sets off this different tone because he can't react properly. He can't deal with it because he's not there to be like that manly confrontation. So I feel like that's also adding to like the fear and the stress that he probably deals with as well.
Yeah, and it's definitely new because he like heads home and he's like, ask mama, why did he say hey at me instead of hey at a girl? And just the way he worded it, you almost feel like you go back to like a 15-year-old Tech feeling so confused. He's going back to being like 8 in his mind almost for how, you know. So I thought that was really cool, just how he switches the tone like that.
Which also, for me, I kind of took that as like pedophilia. Like, dude, if he was really this young, dude who whistled at him is like...
Well, to be fair, he does say that... I think he tries to lay it up in the beginning of the verse, like he looks old enough that even his female teachers want to smash, which in that regard is more of the pedophilia because they're his teachers calling him cute every day.
Right, but I also looped that with the other part where the dude kind of hits on him, and as well as when the mother kind of follows up and goes, this is the way of the world. It's kind of like...
Because of how the verse ends, I think it was just more about the gayness, because I think like... He looks old enough to be at least 18 type shit.
Okay.
I don't think that the guy hitting on him was like, oh, he's 15.
Right.
You know, it just felt more like, yeah, he's a nice young man, old enough. That's how I pictured it, at least. And then him and his homies work on a dance routine, and they're going to go smash on some women, and they see 2 dudes hugged up now. And then Tech gets all hyped up and goes, yo, kind of like probably because he's triggered from his shit. But then it escalates and his homies said, time for gay bashing. And then ran up and attacked the dudes. And Tech kind of in that moment, like, fucks him up. Like, this isn't the proportionate response to, like, it's one, I guess in his mind, it's one thing to feel weird about homosexuality. But that doesn't give you a right to, like, beat the shit out of people because they're homosexual, which... Look, like, this happens. Like, there's a lot of stats to support that, especially in modern era, the trans community, things like that. Like, it's kind of, like, you might not understand it. It might not be, like, cool in your mind. But the part where you actually beat people down is kind of wrong, in my little opinion.
The way I kind of look at it as well is that I feel like he's alluding to also kind of blaming himself and, like, maybe he could have not said yo, because it kind of sounds like he triggered this, right? Like,
yeah.
Out of his own fear of what we got earlier in the verse, out of his own confusion, he reacted impulsively or whatnot, and that caused the situation to get bigger. But it's like...
But at the same time, he's still kind of, what in the fuck? Because, like, that is both to himself, but mostly, I think, to the dude smashing. And then it's like, you guys messed up. It ain't peaceful. You know it's effed up. And plus, evil. So why in the hell are you doing that to innocent people?
But I feel like that's also kind of introspective to himself, where he's, like, talking to himself,
so
like, dude,
I agree with you.
You called out this gay couple. What the fuck? Like, why does it matter to you? Why does it bother you that much to respond?
But it took, like, the actual action of his friends taking it there for him to realize it. And then it's just, you know why I really like this song? is because you don't have a lot of people willing to admit that in this day and age. Like, I'm willing to admit that I used to be a lot more of a bigot than I am today, and through a lot of confrontation and listening to people, I have grown and evolved, and it took years to like get past a lot of that. So to see a guy like Tech N9ne plant those seeds in people to like start that journey, I find that really commendable. So that's really dope. And then the chorus is nice, but it's fine.
Well, the chorus. I feel also is kind of has this introspectiveness to it, where he kind of plays off of I guess everybody, right? So he plays off the teachers that are hitting on him as a kid, plays off the dude who drives by and hits on him, plays off how the mother kind of dismisses these things and just this is how the world works, plays off of the friends and the whole verse, right? So I feel so sad. In all of these experiences, you can kind of feel like maybe they're sad and they're acting out of a certain way. Maybe the way that these people have interacted with Mr. Yates has been like out of sadness, out of fear. I'm not perfect, that acceptance, right? So everybody's like what they're doing. They were beating up the gay couple. Even maybe the gay couple's feeling like we're not perfect. This is weird. But the people beating them up are like, feeling guilt. Maybe Yates is feeling guilty, kind of like, oh, I'm not perfect. I shouldn't have said anything. It's all these things looping together as one, which is what I really thought was cool about it. Always kill, feel so sad. I can't see it slowing down. It's like that really kind of sat with me, and the feel of like we resort to violence when we are fearful. And it may not just be violence in terms of physicalness. It's just maybe alluding, insinuating that, again, let's take how Tech N9ne went yo as a kid, right? Like, that is not violent itself, but the aggressive tone nature that you can kind of get from the song where he sporadically just goes yo, like, it's out of anger, it's out of confusion, it's out of fear, which incites violence, which could allude to it as well. So that is really, really cool, the way that chorus kind of fits together. I really did enjoy that. You want to go on to verse 2? Or
Verse 2 flips the topic from homophobia to all-out racism and takes a take on it that isn't often discussed. So sophomore year, lost more tears because people hate it and it costs more fears. My school is the stash spot for gangsters with rag tops. You get your ass shot the year we had so many mascots.
Which I liked. I really liked how he's using mascots as like to represent the people who are being, I guess, I would kind of see them put up on walls, honoring them, and really trying to remember who they were while going to this school and living this.
Yeah, we had one dude pass away in my high school, and they made a mural for him on the walls. But I guess the way he's painting it is this is the environment, and it's relevant for the context of what comes next, because in response to that is the racism that gets put into the education system,
Mm-hmm.
How could we do no wrong when schools were integrated? How could we do no wrong? Racism demonstrated. And it's like, oh shit. So obviously because you're black, you're bad. It's not a good situation. Maybe you have guns, but he's like, nah, I don't have guns or whatever. And somebody had doomed 2 black got stab wounds and got beaten, kicked, white elites and shit. So essentially there's a situation where a couple of honkies, probably a richer environment or the power of the police or somebody fucked up some kids.
Well, I want to, sorry, because that seems to be a little bit further. I wanted to address, how could you do wrong? Schools integrated, how did racism demonstrated, blah, blah, blah. Better be moving on before I'm eliminated. Like that fact of like, elimination, really, like there's no chance in this environment. That fucked me up when like, okay, I understand getting beaten up and like all this stuff, but to be eliminated, to face off, like wiped off the face of the earth, that's crazy. Probably use the chrome because I've been degraded. Like, just the thought that you're going to school with this because you have these feels, you don't know what to expect, was really insane. But then I like how he went, scratch that, I'm not that cat. I would never want to keep a rat-a-tat-tat in my backpack. Never had nobody to snap at. I'm a class act. Like, I like how he's trying to be like, yeah, I may have been surrounded by all this. I may have been like and put into this area, like this life, but I'm not that. I've always tried to be some like good kid. I've always tried to be on that proper path, which I like how he sets it up in the verse, because for a second, I thought we were going to get some, like, ruthless Tech N9ne as a kid and really kind of find out maybe he was, like, bucking shots or whatever. But no, he takes himself out of it to then set up the next context of the verse. And then the people start getting stabbed and all this thing happens. Go on.
Yeah, and then basically he describes the response of how the black kids kind of meet up in the bathroom and decide we're going to smash down on the next white kids that walk in, and they essentially do that, and Tech N9ne's there, kind of watches this goes down. His response is like, yo, is this a gag? They're like, nah, want to break them all like Mr. Glass. It happened. The whites in room cracking. And I like his use of cracking, right? Because it's like cracker.
Right.
Get it?
I did want to touch upon that as well because it kind of seems like Tech N9ne is also expressing how he's kind of conflicted between hating and also being a loving person. Because it's like, after somebody, like after this incident happens, right, where I guess it's like a white guy that goes off and kills two black people, right? I would assume.
It just kind of sounds like a couple of white dudes walk into the bathroom and get a beat down.
Well, no, before that, we heard two blacks got stabbed wounds and got beaten, kicked, white elites and shit. So yeah, so it's white. So I like how he's kind of setting up that one day shit kind of goes wrong and some white guys beat up some black people. And as a response to that white on black racism, the black people are now responding with more racism and violent acts going after the whites in the bathroom.
Call it racism. It's a complicated term. We'll call it enforcing the bigotry of the situation.
That.
But basically, yeah, because the next dudes walked in are white, they end up being the targets to get the little beat down, and it's in response to just some shit that happened to other people. And it kind of explores that almost collective rage of what it's like to be part of the community that is constantly seeing over and over again. And I can imagine that to this day it's very frustrating to watch your people get gunned down by shit like the police all the fucking time. Like, people can just not walk into your house and the judge will hug you if you if you're a cop and you shoot a black person in the wrong house because you were dumb. Guess what? The judge will hug you. That's some fucked up world we in.
I'm not touching that.
I'm just saying, personally, fucked up world we in. But that's not what happens in normal life. Anyway, and it just kind of flows in. And I think what Tech N9ne is showing is he had these experiences and they led him to realize that ultimately this level of wanton violence against like random innocent people because other people who may look or be like them did something is wrong. So in Tech's case, because one guy aggressively catcalled him, it doesn't make it okay to harass other gay people. And in the other case, because some white dude stabbed some black person, it doesn't make it okay to just hate fucking white people for the sake of it. And I think that's a really powerful point that Tech N9ne is trying to convey through his song. He delivers it pretty well. It's enjoyable to listen to. Guess who made a good beat? 7. So it's a 4.5 on 5.
I like how, and this is just my last point on this, I like how Tech N9ne kind of expresses that feeling of like, you can either live these situations to understand and kind of have that growth and find out why it's bad to be these things or good or however you want to look at it, but also kind of writing it in a way and presenting it in a way where it's like, you don't have to go through these if you just kind of listen to what I'm saying. I like how he's really doing that, because going through this song, I felt like, yeah, that's kind of how you learn in life, right? Like, you really get stuck in these really fucked up situations, and then you start making moral decisions, moral choices. But if you were maybe able to do it, like, I feel like he's kind of presenting it like, if you listen to what I'm saying and you really try to understand what I went through, you can make these decisions before they happen and reduce a lot of this shit. Like, it's kind of in this, like...
It's also, I think, just trying to say, like, when you feel this way, and again, because things are different or oppressive or whatever, it's not okay to take it out on innocent people.
Absolutely. And I like how he does the verses, how he ends the verses on that. And that was something else I want to touch upon. The way that he ends both verses on emphasizing that these are innocent people, it's like it really kind of flips you at the end of the verse. Like, you're going through this whole dramatic, extensive thing, and then just remember, all of this is to innocent people. And you're like, whoa, fuck. At least for me, I was like, whoa, okay. So I as well gave it a 4.5 on 5.
All right, the next song is Angel Baby. I don't want to say that this song is less good than the other songs, but I can definitely say I'm less interested in the very mundane situations that he brings up in like the first two verses. Third verse has some tension and some drama to it, but the first verse is just honestly really boring. It's so regular. And I don't mean that.
The first verse kind of felt a little bit more interesting to me than the other two verses. The other two verses
Let's
kind
look
of
at-
felt really regular.
So my first brush with death was on a school bus. I was a youngster and the substitute driver was there and he stopped in the middle of the road and
Well,
I
no,
got out
no,
and
no.
the car almost hit
You are
me.
downplaying the first
And the
verse.
car
I'm so
almost
angry
hit
right
me, and thank
Well,
goodness
no, it's a reaction.
I didn't get out one step
Nah,
earlier,
nah.
sooner, or whatever.
Nah.
That's the first verse.
He's downplaying it, guys. No. Okay, so let Chris Chrome go through the first verse.
Let's do the intro first. I was young when she told me I was divine, yes. I was not even 9 yet. Okay, his mom's blessing him as the angel baby. Ran away, got into the life of crime next. Pyrex. Honestly, one of the best uses of Pyrex to allude to so much with one word. I was like, no, Griselda's fire. What are you talking about? But that was pretty good, Tech N9ne. Good job. Made it through close calls. I evaded shooters. I'm like, there's shooters and shit. Oh fuck, man. Tech N9ne's got some drama in store for us. This is gonna be a good one.
Yo, some gang shit.
I'm not saying gang shit, but
Right,
at
right.
least like exciting. So if anything goes crazy, everything works out for the angel baby. Like that time I was 9 and got off the school bus and nearly got hit by a car.
Nah, you're fucking dumb. No, okay, so in the first verse, that's kind of what it is, though. Like that's the overall look at it. But
no, that is what it is.
no, but my was on the school bus, blah blah blah, because the substitute driver caused the truck to cruise by us. Would have been crushed in dude's tires because the fool's nuts. So it's not just like he parked out and I got out. No, there was a little incident, and that's the same truck that almost hit him as a reaction.
Yeah,
of,
all of this is boring.
Nah, I like.
Like, I'm sorry, but I had so much trouble with this verse.
Here's the thing.
It's
The
cool.
Here's the thing for me. The other two verses are literally situations that Tech N9ne got himself into, which going through both of the other two verses, I'm like, you could have just said no, or you could have just not been there, and you could have like evaded death that
But
way.
that's not interesting.
Which is fine. This one to me, the first verse to me is interesting because it's like, this is a genuine brush of death. This isn't like, I decided to go out with my friend on fucking
I'm
shrooms
not
and
gonna
drive.
say that verse 2 is the most riveting story either, because it is, not everybody was on shrooms necessarily.
The dude driving was on shrooms.
Maybe. Does it say that?
The dude driving was on shrooms.
It says, I'm my homie, Davey.
House trip at shrooms, dark rainy night, but
Yeah,
on a mission
it just
soon.
sounds
It was
like-
Dave, Grant, Jake, and a bitch to get some more. We go.
Yeah, but
dip
I don't
in
know
room,
that-
jumped in her.
it-
Oh, it's her car.
Yeah. I don't know that, like, everybody was on shrooms. I know
She's speeding.
Tech was on shrooms. Who cares? So they're on shrooms.
Was Tech on shrooms?
They get into the car. They're doing 65. Everything feeling good. I guess you're right. Weed tweaking. Everybody's high. Fine. I'm wrong. Slick from Sky Spray hit a bump on the bridge. Then the shit went sideways. And look, it's very scary to be in a car accident.
I mean, I literally had this happen to me within the last month.
That's scary.
Yeah, I know.
And the car stopped right before it would have flipped over because Cupid Angel Baby saved Tech N9ne and all that shit. All right. And you know what? Navé Monjo on the chorus sounds nice and it's real corny because it's corny to me, but it's nice. Like, this song is nice so far. And then, okay, I'm like, well, I guess this is not going to be about gun shootings and violence. It's going to be about boring
Nah, the shooters are the one that popped the tire. They got him. They got him on the bridge.
Like, the first verse is like little 10-year-old Tech N9ne, and then he's like, a little bit older, doing drugs with his friends and almost died. And then we go a little bit further into high school, and then Southwest High School nighttime, so we know it's in high school. Martin Luther King Day talent show, so I think that's January. Flight climb to another level, takes the devil to incite crime. Okay. No bright minds, ain't no telling what you might find. Whole lot of gang shit. Somebody want to bang with the homies I came with. I'm like, oh, we're getting there. but still feels pretty anticlimactic. Like, we're halfway through the verse and we've established that it's high school, Martin Luther King Day. Oh yeah, and there's some gang shit that happens. 65121 on one a road was dangerous. Some lames couldn't hang because I'm gang think. That's when I saw one of them pull a pistol on it and aimed it. I was in the wind just like the bullets that whizzed by, running for blocks in the night but never did die. I'm like, so dude shot at you because you were too cool for him?
So, but I think it's like you have to take it in context, right? So it's not just dude shot at you because he thought you were cooler than him. Dude at the high school nighttime, like it's the whole. You have to take the whole thing. It's like I was at a school shooting.
No,
is what it is.
It's more like we squad, we gang. You're trying to be like, yo,
at school.
Yeah, but nighttime.
But at school, like it could have been like a school dance or some shit.
I mean, it's alluding to that. I feel like high school times or whatever, even if it's at the school.
Yo, meet me at the block after 8.
Kind of shit. It's still nighttime. It's not in school shooting times. It's at nighttime. And
when did you ever go to a school dance that was during the day?
Is this at a dance? Is that you just
Southwest
made up?
High School nighttime Martin Luther King Day talent show fight club, flight climb. It's a talent show. So it's not it's not a dance, but it's a show. So they're at the school at night.
They're looking all dope, being cool, and then dude gets mad, and then motherfucker pulls a gun, and then he runs away, and then he escapes. And I'm not saying like, I don't know, maybe it's just the way that the song starts set my expectations up for some fly ass shit. But I feel like we got the most mundane, normal version of this we could possibly get.
Deja vu, because I feel like you said the same thing out of a similar song on the last Tech N9ne review we did with the EPs. Like, it was like, oh, we're gonna get some shooters, we're gonna get some like this, and then it was just so like, that's it.
Yeah,
that was it. Okay,
I'm having this is a 4.25 to me because it's well done. 7 is great. Navé Monjo is fine. Tech N9ne just. I guess when you've been put out so many albums, all that's left in your repertoire is the time you almost got killed getting out the bus. You know what I mean? Like, it feels, and I'm not trying to shit on them. I appreciated hearing the story the first time. It was like the third or fourth time I heard the story that I was like, this is some basic shit.
I'll give you that. I gave this song a 4 on 5.
All right. Next one is called On the Outside. I was trying to Google if Tech N9ne had the most #1 songs on the rap charts and Billboard, because that's an interesting metric. And it turns out Billboard charges you money to access back-end analytics like that, and that's a subscription model they have. Even Billboard is in the software as a service subscription era. Woo! Because apparently, if you can successfully implement a subscription model into your business in some way, guess what? Your stock price doubles. That really happens these days. Anyway, when I heard a song about Tech N9ne talking about the industry again, at first I was like hater McGee, but then I thought this was pretty nice. I really fucking like this track. This actually is the best song I've heard on the album so far, for real. Because he starts off like, it used to really bother me. Why award shows never calling me? And I'm like, it really did bother you, and that bothered me. But now it seems like you're past that. Was not enough to hold the tea down because I'm constantly chopping broccoli. Fair enough. They don't owe me no apology. Nobody does, Tech. I'm balling getting nightly neurology. And I'm like, that's the best fucking line for getting a blowjob I've heard anybody say in a year. Get it? Brains, neurology. Oh, it's so good. That's a really good line. I liked it a lot. Even though I got the lottery now, so he definitely gets that because it's top tier brain neurology. Ain't no thought of me. I do not agree.
Top tier brain. Oh my god.
And then, he starts off staring at platinum and gold plaques. Fragile, hood go crazy, Caribou. And I'm like,
I want to comment on the fragile, hood go crazy, Caribou. I like the demonic demon devil effect he uses as the voice, because I feel like he's trying to imply that he himself doesn't even understand that these are gold and platinums. Like, it's not like he looks at it and there's just somebody else who's like kind of just there like, this is why you're this, who you are.
No, I look at it a little different. I think it's more like he's staring at the plots, and it's almost like infectious, like powerful, like he's doubling down on the emphasis by changing the voice and listing his songs, almost like an announcer or something. He's just listing his fucking singles, and you're like, that's true. He did write a song about a drink. Carabulu. Gold stacked because ain't nobody ever said that Tech N9ne flow whack, and that's the reason the baby mamas. No cap. I'm like, sure. Nobody did say your flow's whack. People did say that your filler words are sometimes whack. That has been said about you, Tech N9ne. But whatever. He got a lot of singles. He put out a lot of albums. He played that indie grind. Got a dope ass distribution thing set up at one of the majors. And like, you know what? He played the game proper. And he made a whole bunch of money. And then, you know, I don't know that there's a whole lot in the verse I think is dope. Except kind of like some op wanna play me out like I'm Sega Genesis, this stopping us. I just really like that line with the Sega Genesis, because the way he says it is like Genesis is this stopping us, and he like splits it like that, and it's fucking good. That's one of the more impressive displays I think of talent in his rhyming, was when he does stuff like that. It's really cool because it's not relying on cheap trips like cricket lines, you know, to get through it, or that chaw. I really don't like the cha anymore. I get it. It's a branding move. It's a smart branding move. It gets stuck in your head. It's the equivalent of the Timberland effect, which is when you put a constant monotonous sound throughout your entire fucking catalog to draw people in and make it earwormy. Cha! But like, whatever. I'm getting over it. Anyway, got a lot of fans and whatever. But then, you know when the song got me? Is because he goes, because me and my partner built an empire and we did it on the outside. And I'm like, thank fucking God you're saying it. I've been waiting for you to make it sound fun for a while. I get guap on the outside. And I'm like, this is the best chorus. I've been waiting so long. When I'm home from getting it, I just watch. And I'm like, yeah, Tech, get that guap. That's what I want to see. You making it sound fun. Because you know what, dude, your life looks so fun. Make it sound fun for me, baby. And he did.
Okay.
And it's so airy. And it's just finally he's reached a moment of being like, I'm actually cool. I don't need the industry. And I'm like, yes, that's what I've been saying for the whole times I've been hating on you. But this was amazing. I get guap. And the way it flips up into that old-timey sample, and it just sounds like everybody. I get guap. It just sounds like a good time, is what I'm trying to say.
I didn't really like the hook.
And then the second one comes through, and honestly, the rest of the verse is fine. And the general point of it is, I've accomplished a bunch of shit.
What I do like in verse 2 is, so as I sit in peep award shows like a forbidden geek, ignored so because I love for living deep, with the Lord flows through the blood of risen chiefs. I love to see all my peers getting their credit through all of my years. I really like that part because it's like, I feel like I kind of am like that. Like I like making music. I like doing what I do, but I don't know if I actually want to be part of like awards or stuff like that. Like, I don't know if I really care about like being there, and like I'm more just kind of on myself, kind of my own growth, my own thing. And if I win an award, I win an award. And I feel like that's how I took that line from Tech N9ne, where he's like, I think it's part of why I was never invited is because I never actually wanted to go. And I think that's kind of what I'm getting from that.
I mean, I feel like he's kind of come to peace with it all. He definitely, I feel like to a degree he got blackballed because he didn't play the game and he was trying to do things different, and that's often what happens. But I don't know, I feel like he's now understanding the freedom that comes with it, you know? I don't know. Award shows like I'm a forbidden geek. It just, yeah, that is kind of what you did for a minute when you painted your face, and you did a lot of really cool stuff that made a lot of people like me get attracted to your style and stuff, but it's not like what they're selling. I don't know. I like the fact that he's willing to like be like, y'all can get your credit, but it almost seems like he's finally focused on the metrics that count. Like, this award show shit is all fake. It's all lame. And I suppose the fact that he's no longer craving the or it seems to be craving the validation of people that are so disingenuous, like a Grammys or whatever, it's nice. And then you get your hook again, and it's just beautiful.
Nice. I did give it a 4 on 5 though. It was okay.
I give it a 4.75. I thought the song was fire. I think it was one of the best. Like, seriously, this might be like the first Tech N9ne song I've heard in a few years where like I could really see myself throwing it back on and vibing to, because I like his On the Grind, but I fucking won. Like, to see Tech N9ne after all of this time, like, what is it, 30 years in the game practically, basically to establish to be at this place where it's like, I'm confident in my life, because at the end of the day, fuck what you think. I get guap. And it's not like the same kind of I get guap that you normally hear.
Right.
It's, I built a successful $1 million fucking organization. Like, it's fresh. And legal. That's some clean, legal ass money he has going on right there. Respectable, Tech N9ne. I like this. Please keep up this tone. I'm excited for the album. It's gonna have more stories and positive ass tones, like keeping his chakras up and whatnot. Anyway, we nearly done the project. The last one features the homeboy that also dropped an EP, Krizz Kaliko, and it's called B.I.B. B.I.B. I feel like this is blasé by comparison. Like, it's a good song, but it's not as fun and invigorating as the one we just listened to. What do you think about B.I.B?
I actually like this song, and I think I like it more because of just the Krizz Kaliko on it. I like how they're presenting it. I like how they play off different roles. Tech's got this kind of going back in my past, this is kind of what I dealt with, and this is where I am now type feel. And Krizz Kaliko's kind of like got this, I'm feeling super down in the moment, like all of these emotions are just coming at me, and he really expresses it well on his voice and whatnot. But my problem is I don't really care for the lyrics. Like, I'm not saying they're bad, they're really good. Verse 1, how much of the trauma did mama get? Way up in the highest levels, the drama gets A. To the pain from my mother's heartache was on display. Y'all don't want a sick day to mama's dismay. Like, I get that he's really kind of giving us what he dealt with at home. There's a part where
it's like he's reflecting on through all of the trauma, and he's like maybe looking at his actions again, the impact of his actions on his mother, and kind of looking at how she feels and whatnot. And I guess, painting it as a complicated situation.
Mm-hmm. And I do enjoy that. I guess I don't really know what it was about this song, but it wasn't really the lyrics that got me into it. It was really just the overall effect of the song itself that I really did enjoy. I was really impressed by Krizz Kaliko though. Just his performance and just holding the notes and the way he stretches his voice and has this disconnect, but this like hope in it. Dude, it was crazy. I really like this as a song. That's all I really gotta say. 4.5. I thought it was a great way to end the album.
I mean, I thought it was interesting. I guess I was wrong a bit, because he goes on Tech to describe how his like stepdad or whatever was beating his mom, and then the dude goes put in prison for robbing a bank, and almost like there's this greater karmic balance out there, and it was difficult back in the day. I don't know, I guess he's just feeling blessed now and thinking back. And that's the whole point in the first verse. And I feel like it's a really, again, powerful. And a lot of this album seems to be exploring some deeply personal feelings that Tech N9ne has been going through and experiencing. Therefore, an introspective album. And that has made it very cool so far. Krizz Kaliko sonically just bounces off of Tech in a way where I feel like sometimes it hits like peanut butter and jelly, and other times it does not hit like peanut butter and jelly. It's more like peanut butter and marmalade. Ew. Like, you might like it, but it wasn't my favorite. And I feel like he just changes the vibe of the song, and he gets like this slower, more singiness to it, and it's alright, but all these things that get me down, I know it's gotta be an upside down, found somewhere, yeah, if I can't pick my face up off the ground and I don't know what's next, hollow but I'm blessed, and then he just kinda repeats that for a minute. And so, I mean, he's kinda, it looks like representing this idea of, after thinking about all of the fear level things we've encountered, pick your feet up, dust yourself off, you can find that inner strength even under pressure. You can feel like God, you can build yourself up, and I guess it's cool, and it just kind of ends, and then you get that strange, and then the song doesn't end. It has a couple more notes, and I was like, that's new. Normally it just ends on the strange. Good tagging. I feel like this is a calmer, slower, different vibe that I like a little bit less, but it fits well. I don't know. It just felt like extra, and you'll either like you could stop it on the outside of my. I'm cool with that, but if I do keep going, it's not bad.
What I did like, the way I kind of interpreted the song overall was, the way Krizz Kaliko kind of goes in and all of these things that get me down. I know it's got to be an upside down, found somewhere. Yeah, if I can't pick my face up off the ground, but think about the project we just listened to. Every single song before this one, it's like I feel like this is a nice way as an entirety to wrap up this little EP and really kind of sit there and be like, wow, you really did go through a lot of these things. You really did deal with a lot of shit. That you're still here, you're still pushing, you're still continuing, and I think that's part of what this song is that it's kind of reminding you, like, look at what we've been through
It's
and where
just that
we're
the
at.
song just lacks a oomph.
I get you.
So I
get
gave
you.
it a 4.35 because I felt the lyrics were more touching. I just felt the delivery lackluster. Not lackluster, that's not the right word. I felt like something about the song hit less hard following on the outside. And perhaps if I just heard it in a different order with different songs, I might actually feel different because that kind of shit does happen. Anyway, 4.35 on 5.
I gave it a 4.5. I actually like the song as a song itself, not so much the lyrics though.
So I gave this little EnterFear Level 1 Tech N9ne project a 4.47 on 5 because it is a pretty good project, touching on a lot of personal things, and even with like the mundane, boring stories that are covered in that one track, I feel like I'd rather kind of hear him make this effort to use his skills and his trickery to actually talk to us about real emotional experiences and I guess stuff that stands out. Like, I can tell you one thing. I wasn't sitting there personally going, oh, this is the same tech bullshit we always get. That didn't happen one time for me. In fact, I was enthralled with, like, how he managed to make a song about the music industry that impressed me. Like, I feel like I'm actually kind of excited for what might come next. I'm still not into this EP move. Just drop some singles, put out your album, do it the old-fashioned way. But I'm 32. What the fuck am I supposed to say? So I like it, and it makes me excited. And Seven is an amazing producer. And if I would ever spend a lot of money on a beat, it would be from Seven.
I really enjoyed the project. It was nice to have a different Tech N9ne. Part of me kind of felt like this isn't really the tech that I like. I do like the heavy-paced, rapid, drug-fueled, alcohol, women partying, all that stuff, tricky shit. But it's nice to see that he's accepting where he is, who he is, where he's at in his career, and I guess it just, for me, kind of shows a little bit of just growth. That's really all I can actually say, coming off of the albums I reviewed, coming off of what I've listened to back in the day of Tech N9ne, and just really when I was following strange music a little bit. Yeah, I kind of see, like, you've grown up a little bit, I guess, to me, and I'm nobody, so let's just make that clear.
He grew up to me too, and I feel like I'm somebody, but I'm really nobody. Thank y'all for watching.
Hold on, overall I gave the project a 4.24 on 5.
It's important what Chris thinks about the album.
It is.
Thank y'all for watching. We totally appreciate you being here. Everybody likes Chris. Let us know in the comments how much you like Chris, what your favorite Chris Chrome moment is. Just tell us about your appreciation of the man. And we'll make sure to answer you in the comments. We can have a little conversation about anything you want. Like the video if you did, because we got to sell out like that. Subscribe to the channel for more podcast review goodness, plus maybe some extras coming in 2020. We appreciate y'all for real. It motivates us at levels you probably can't even understand, but like, y'all are amazing. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Dempsey, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Coney Sparks. They're dope. They support what we do. They helped us get a new camera on the Spotify. Album really low-fi, but we're gonna work on the Squarespace soon, and that's all because of them. They help a lot, and it's really just, it touches my soul, we can say. They also get to tell us what albums to review, so expect to see a bunch of Patreon requests fly through in the next couple of weeks. That's dope. So if you want us to review whatever, that's a good way to cut the line and make it happen real quick. We also make music. Chris here invited me to do a verse on one of his songs, and he sent it to me, and I wrote it this morning, and we're gonna record it and make it wonderful, because the Chris Chrome album be coming, because now it's fun now, and that's right, it's gonna be put out through Behind That Suit, because we're gonna make ourselves a record label by accident. Whoopsies. So you know how it is. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Everything's available on the channels and the stuffs. And live long and prosper.
We go, though, I also had a really nice conversation with DJ Big Dream last night on Twitter. So like, I've been trying to get y'all to talk to me. Hit me up on Twitter. We have conversations. Like, I can actually do this. It's nice. It's interesting. I do love all the comments and everything.
He's not gonna come on YouTube and comment, so that's what it is.
Twitter's just more direct for me.
That's fair.
It's right here. My name's right there, guys. Just like tweet me.
It's
Hit me up.
Chris Chrome 93. So far, very few people have hit him up in all of his beggings in the last 3+ years. So
it's sad.
So for me,
but I don't give up
because if you don't want to tweet him for his sake, for me, tweet Chris. Let him, give him some love.
Wow, pity.
Tweet him. This is a pity. Tweet him. This is a pity tweet. Live long and prosper, everybody.